What we know, storks and babies, is that it's the great harvest that brings both storks and babies. What I promise you we have found from our research is that accountability is the great harvest that brings both engagement and results. Trying to engage people to produce results is the long way around. In fact, engagement without accountability creates entitlement. You may have already noticed. The average person spends 2 hours a day in drama, and so we can recapture that through some really simple tools and techniques that leaders will actually use. For the last 20 years, I've just been out helping others, and some of the things that I've often thought of as a competitive advantage as you're placing folks is if you can say these folks have been onboarded in reality-based leadership, which is all about low drama, then they're going to be more competitive in their placement. So I met with the low accountables. Okay, I didn't know at the time they were low accountables. I met with the high accountables, and I asked them what they needed in order for their workplace to be more supportive of great work. One group said to me, oh my gosh, we have a list. You could pay for our scrubs. If the physicians get lunch brought in by the pharmaceutical companies, this was the old days, we should get fed too. We could have in-house daycare. We could have flexible working hours. We could get to choose who we wanted to work with. We could, and they named almost every retention strategy I've ever heard you guys try and figure out. Went to the next group, and they said, oh my gosh, thanks for asking. We would like a new printer on 6 Southwest because the paper scrunches up, and where it scrunches up is actually the most usual place for Coumadin or other blood thinners to show up in a warning, and we're very concerned about medicine and any errors that would happen in administration or complications. And we've really had our noses in the research and the evidence, and we would like ICU hours to be changed. Right now, we only let families in 15 minutes on the hour, and so we exhaust our families who sleep in the waiting rooms, and the evidence says that the quicker we can reunite families and the sooner after surgery or trauma, the better the outcome is for the patient. Does anybody hear a difference between these two groups? Can you guess which group was which? And yet, one of the main flaws in the language and in thinking that I discovered early on as a young leader in healthcare is that we hadn't done our job really testing what we had come to believe as conventional wisdom. The conventional wisdom when it comes to engagement is that engagement drives results, right? You engage your staff, there's the whole chain. I live in Atlantic Gallup, I taught Gallup, I know lots of them, I love engagement. But if you change these circumstances, you get people engaged by making sure their circumstances are supportive of their engagement, then you're going to have results, right? The problem is that engagement's a choice. See, I didn't know if I'd have the tools to do my work today. I didn't know if you support me. I don't know if you like me yet. My best friend's not here. And I still chose when I came through these doors to give you some great information. It seems that engagement's a choice. Now, if I choose to be engaged and you give me really great circumstances to be engaged in, lottery. But what I know about healthcare is your ability to control circumstances has shown us, you've shown us you're pretty poor at that. The ability to give me a perfect reality with proper staffing and proper tools. And so what's that mean? I'm just always disengaged? So I looked into the research because at one time, we actually thought that storks bring babies. And do you know why we thought this? Because in Amsterdam, there was actually research that showed that when the stork population increased, the baby population increased 9 months later by the same percentage. Coincidence? I think not. When the stork population decreased, so did the percentage of babies born. Coincidence? I think not. Now, we use this example to teach students the flaws in believing something is causal rather than correlated. The research that I did during my master's program showed that much of what engagement survey research has done is show something causal that's simply correlated. See, storks don't bring babies. I hope I'm not ruining any others for you. But there is a common element that brings both storks and babies. It's called a great harvest. See, storks are migratory birds, so when a great harvest happens, they show up early. Great harvest means that we have higher maternal nutrition levels, which leads to better birth rates. I personally believe there's also a secondary factor, which is that people celebrate good harvest with baby-making activities. However, no one studied that. There were no questions asked about that, so we can't use that. It's just a new hypothesis. What we know, storks and babies, is that it's the great harvest that brings both storks and babies. What I promise you we have found from our research is that accountability is the great harvest that brings both engagement and results. Trying to engage people to produce results is the long way around. In fact, engagement without accountability creates entitlement. You may have already noticed. People respond to accountability, but accountability has been misunderstood. It's just butts on the line. It's a negative word, and it just shouldn't be, because accountability doesn't happen with you to me, it happens inside me. And you as a leader just cultivate it. And you as an HR representative just stop giving us mixed messages that reward victim-minded thinking.
So we take it all away from inspiration, motivation, the stuff I can do to you or can't do to you, and we really put it into what's our reality right now? What do we know for sure? What would great look like? How do we go be great? And we teach leaders these mental processes to use every day with folks so that emotional waste is eliminated from the workplace. And so I study drama.